Okay, today we're going to be working on the flat fall forward. Now the flat fall forward is a technique that should be practiced, or is highly recommended to be practiced by martial artists around the world. Why? Because so many martial artists are practicing to protect themselves from punches, from kicks, from their opponent, but they're often forgetting about the environment, the ground, the trees, the walls. You get pushed into a wall, flat fall forward to protect yourself. You know, have your legs pulled out from under you, protect yourself from slamming your face into the ground. I'm going to go over some of the specific applications of the flat fall forward in a bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the flat fall forward into 3 different sections. Section number 1 is going to be me demonstrating the flat fall forward correctly for you, a few different angles. Section number 2 will be, I'll be breaking down the steps of the flat fall forward into 1, 2, 3, 4. Such a way so you'll be doing the flat fall forward like an expert in no time. And finally, section number 3, the applications of the flat fall forward. Why would we ever use such a flat fall forward? I'm going to answer that question for you. Okay, so to begin with, on section number 1, the flat fall forward demonstrated from a few different angles. Okay, that is the flat fall forward demonstrated from a few different angles. Now moving on to section number 2, breaking down the flat fall forward into easy to learn steps. Okay, so step number 1, we're just going to stand normal. Shoulder width apart, just stand comfortable. Step number 2, what we want to do is slide our feet backwards in a diagonal direction, almost like into a horse stance. Now step number 3 is we want to create an imaginary X between our legs. And this is where we're going to drop down in the mind, body, spirit position. Now notice that when we drop, we're not just dropping on our wrists. We're dropping evenly between the knife edges of our hands as well as our forearms, right there. And then when we drop as well, we're going to be sliding our feet backwards in a rear diagonal direction, a little bit more, landing on the balls of our feet. Like so. Now notice that when I drop, this is very, very important. My head is turned to the side. If my head was just face flat, and if the ground was a little bit elevated, more elevated than I expected, I could slam my face in the ground. So always turn your head to the side, either left or right, to protect yourself. And then finally, step number 4, simply want to roll out of it. To do a right shoulder roll, slide that right foot forward, go into the shoulder roll like so. So to recap that one more time, step number 1, stand normal. Step number 2, slide back into that horse stance. Step number 3, create that horse stance, or create that X between our legs, and slide back, landing in that mind, body, spirit position with our head turned to the side. Look, forward roll out of it. So that's breaking down flat fall forward into 4 easy to learn steps. Now finally, section number 3, the applications of the flat fall forward. Hey, Mr. Ogden, if you'd help me out. The first application that we're going to do is going to be defense against if somebody pulls out your legs from under you. Now notice, if I didn't know what I was doing, if somebody pulled out my legs, I would be slamming forward with all the weight into the ground. So I need to soak up that energy and momentum with something, which is going to be mind, body, spirit, flat fall forward. Mr. Ogden? Now make sure that you turn your head when you land, and of course, get out of it in style by forward rolling. Okay, the second application that we're going to do is application against a charge defense. You'll also see this in the system in one of our magnificent 7s for the charges. So if you have a training partner, an opponent, what you want him to do is actually charge for you, grabbing your legs, like he's going to try to tackle you. Now notice, if you're having trouble practicing this, like it doesn't seem to be working so well for you, it'll probably have to do with your opponent not being committed. He has to be fully committed to grabbing those legs. So Mr. Ogden, slide back, flat fall forward on the top of his back with all of my weight right there, driving him to the ground. And you could go into whatever grappling technique moves you need to from there. And finally, for the third application, we're going to switch to a little bit of a different location. So bear with us for just a moment as we go about and do that. Okay, now that we're in our new location, let me demonstrate the third application of flat fall forward. Now this is going to be the application if someone pushes you from behind and you're facing a wall, a tree, or anything like that, and you need to soak up that energy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that flat fall forward, soak up the energy just like I'm on the ground, but with the wall, with the mind, body, spirit triangle. Distributing the weight evenly with that right there. Making sure that I turn my head always to either left or right to protect my face. So Mr. Ogden, if you'd help me out here. Push me, step forward. My feet are pretty wide, almost like a horse stance. I'm going to soak up that energy as well for that third application of the flat fall forward. Okay, that is a flat fall forward. Thank you.